Architectural expertise and knowledge. Okay, so I'll start first by defining who an architect is. An architect is a duly trained and registered professional who is saddled with the responsibility of conceptualizing, designing, and implementing building design. So before you can hire an individual who claims to be an architect, you have to ensure that this person is duly trained and registered by the regulatory body. The regulatory body in Nigeria is known as ACON. That's the Architects Registration Council of Nigeria. You also have to be a member of the institute, that is the Nigerian Institute of Architects. So if you've done well in selecting your architect, what he does is he basically takes the headache off you. He collects your brief, does a lot of conceptualizing by bringing your design ideas to life. The expertise of an architect cuts across different fields. You have architectural planning, design and documentation, interior design, construction management, project management, real estate development, facility management and maintenance, green building documentation and advisory, to mention a few. There are a lot of importance attached to hiring or engaging an architect. Most top of the list would be regulatory authorities. An architect helps you put together drawings that will be used for assessment of your proposed development. An architect helps you to evaluate the safety that is involved in your property. An architect understands the project's life cycle from inception to delivery, talking about pre-design, construction, and post-construction. An architect is saddled with the responsibility to understand how all these phases come to be. When you want to repurpose your structure or your property, an architect is your go-to. An architect understands project management. He helps you to plan your projects on time, to good quality standards, to the specific scope and within the approved budget. Sustainability, local planning authorities, an architect understands the necessary processes to be undergone. An architect serves as a primary advisor to the client. He understands project financing, project management, real estate development. An architect is on top of industry trends. He's in the best position to advise you on the current trends that is applicable globally. So you cannot rule out the importance of hiring an architect for your building project. Step-by-step approach to designing a building. So basically the approach is in two phases. We have design stage 1 and design stage 2. Design stage 1 begins with the architect having a meeting with the client. This is where the client's intention is collected and documented as a brief. After meeting with the client, the architect then issues his proposal for his consultancy service. Once this is concluded, the architect goes to request for existing documents of the property. These documents include survey plan and other title documents. Once the necessary documents have been received, the architect sends his team over to the site to take recognizance of the existing site conditions, and site analyses are also conducted. After this process is concluded, the architect makes a recommendation of the consultants for the project. Allied professionals like the quantity surveyor, the structural engineer, mechanical and electrical consultants are all selected for the project.
So continuing from the previous step, which is the recommendation of special consultants as needed on the project. Then we move on to the preliminary assessment and we consult with the relevant local authorities. This is to ensure that the proposed project is in line with the existing regulations and land use acts in that area. For example, in Lagos State, we usually consult with the Lagos State Physical Planning and Permits Authority. So from the information that we have, we prepare something we call an architect's brief. And this brief is basically just combining the information that we have from the client's brief and from the information we got from the local planning authorities. And we just combine it together and present it to the client what is actually feasible between their original brief and what we have from the local authorities for the client to sign off on. And then we proceed to confirmatory surveys, soil tests, and hydrological surveys to understand the existing site conditions. So from the information gathered in the previous steps, we then proceed to developing the conceptual design. In this stage, we use a lot of sketches, we do a lot of research, and we develop models. We using SketchUp, Revit, and some other softwares, and then we come up with an idea that we believe reflects what the client wants while still making use of the existing site conditions. So after we come up with this initial design, we then prepare a presentation document for the client, and this presentation document usually involves 3D visualizations of what the project is going to look like. It also involves mood boards and other things that we believe the client will be interested in knowing about their project and how it's going to come out. We then also share this document with and the necessary information with the other consultants that will be involved in the project, so they can also come up with their preliminary designs. Usually we consult with other structural engineers, service engineers, just so they can have an initial idea of what they're going to do going forward. And then after we do this, we also consult with the quantity surveyor. And basically what the quantity surveyor does is give us a cost estimate. And this cost estimate is what we also present to the client to sign off on. And when the client approves of the initial design and also with the cost, we then move on to the stage where the client signs off on it. And when they sign off on it, we then move on to the next stage, which involves coordinated detailed design with the other consultants.
After the client's approval on the estimated costs and concept design, we proceed to the coordinated detailed design with allied professionals like the structural engineers, mechanical engineers, and electrical engineers. Assessment drawings are submitted to the local authorities, and comments and reviews are given to us. Then we implement the changes and we send approval drawings back to the local authorities, which are sealed and signed by the registered professionals. After this, we proceed to send the drawings to the quantity surveyor to commence with the bill of quantities. These drawings are also sent to the clients for reviews and any further changes, which are then implemented on the design. After this stage, we proceed to the development of the construction drawings with the allied professionals. This includes coordination meetings and coordination of all the drawings to ensure that the information are in order. Tendering drawings are prepared as part of the documents that will be shared with prospective contractors during the tendering stage. Also, additional documents will be prepared with the construction drawings, such as specification writing and schedules. Updated drawings are then sent to the QS for the final bill of quantities. All these construction drawings, documents, and bill of quantities are submitted to the client. After this stage, we proceed to the tender stage depending on the scope of the project for the selection of the contractor. Then construction stage commences, which eventually leads to post-construction services.